The Angry Chicken is proudly sponsored by DogHouseSystems.com. If you use our code TAC, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. We thank DogHouseSystems.com for their support of The Angry Chicken.
Well met. A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
It's time for a little blood.
This is the Angry Chicken.
I hope you like my invention.
I'm gonna eat God. Reporting with duty.
Welcome back, Mother Cluckers, to The Angry Chicken, a podcast about Hearthstone. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and with me as always is Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Guys, welcome back. How you guys doing this week?
Hello,
Excellent.
Garrett.
Awesome. Good
Feeling very ranked up this week.
Oh, are you? Are you? I'm feeling very ranked limbo.
Yeah?
Just a hair, just a tidbit. But hey, we're doing something a little different today. We have our most stacked show in terms of hosts this week because we have a guest host today joining us from Hearthhead.com. One of their developers actually is Jarek Dane. Jarek, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What is that?
Okay, that's not how I really sound.
You should
I
have
was like,
kept.
oh, he switched mics again.
You should have kept
That
doing
mic
it.
has a little bit of a lisp there, Jared.
Yeah.
Should have kept doing it and really like held strong so that when I said, "What is this
You gotta
voice?"
sell it.
people are just like, Garrett is really mean to guests with speech impediments. What's going on here? Welcome to the show, Jarek. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So you are a developer for the fan site Hearthhead.com, which is honestly, and no bias to, like in this whatsoever, is my favorite database for Hearthstone.
Thank you. Glad you like
Yeah,
it.
you guys do good work over there. Our intro and our bumpers would not exist without your site.
Sweet, thanks.
Yeah, when you guys added all of the sound emotes for each card, it was just like Christmas for the Angry Chicken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a really nice addition. That was my cohort on Hearthhead. Hearthhead is primarily developed between me and Gerard. What's his? Auroris.
Gerard Depardieu? Gerard. Okay, never mind. All right.
But yeah, you can see him on the hearthhead.com/about us. And my area of expertise is primarily in, I do a lot of the tools. So like I made the deck builder, I made the deck guide system, and tools related to that. And I work on tooltips and things like that.
Awesome. So what have you been working on recently, or can you talk about what you've been working on recently?
Just today, we put out some updates for mobile stuff, primarily for tablets, since Hearthstone is going to be on the iPad theoretically fairly soon. We wanted to make some improvements to that. So now, if you go to Hearthhead on your iPad, instead of having to like try to fight with the classic Wowhead menus, you click a tab and it opens up kind of like a nice list of all the things, and you can click an arrow to go further into a section. It's much more tablet friendly now, and
Awesome.
the layout as well fits better, and we're trying to do more improvements along those lines.
I think that's a great idea because, yeah, this game is going to be played so much on an iPad. And if you could just, swipe up with the multitasking gestures, and just swoop over to Hearthhead real quick, it's going to be really convenient. So.
Twitch better add.
Oh yeah, I'm already using it on my iPad with the app you mentioned on the show, Splashtop. I love using Splashtop.
Oh my God, it's so good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Twitch
I
better.
tried using it. Keep cutting off, Garrett. I tried using it.
We all do that.
With Logman, which is a tool I've used for a long time. It's really handy because then, like, if I'm off in the middle of nowhere and I think, like, oh, I forgot to craft with my characters in WoW, I can log in with it. And it's a little difficult, but I can, log onto my characters and do my daily crafting. But with Hearthhead, I just got a black screen, and Splashtop, everything just magically works.
It's weird, right? It's not technically the best one, but yet somehow it's the smoothest. I don't know. That's the only thing I care about is just how smooth it is. So for something like Hearthstone, it works much better.
Yeah, it's great on a Wi-Fi network, and it just, I don't know, whatever method it uses to capture video just actually works.
There is an iPad wrapped in Christmas wrap sitting under my tree right now that you're seeping into my mind like a little red Garrett wearing horns on my right shoulder, just screaming at me, "Go tear it open! Open it
up right now!
Just open! What are you waiting for? It's only a week away."
One more week, Garrett. You can be patient. Just one more week.
Nah, just open it, dude.
Being an adult and buying your own Christmas presents can be really awesome and also a huge stress on your ability to be patient.
Whoa, wait. You bought your own Christmas present?
Katie and I couldn't decide what the hell we wanted, so we looked at each other and said, "Have these on an iPad? Okay." And it's like our gift to ourselves.
That's one
Well,
way
then,
to do it.
yeah, then you break the rules, man. You already broke a rule.
Yeah.
So
You broke all the rules. You fail
Go
at
for it.
Christmas.
Well, no, because now if we open
just
it
become
now,
Jewish. You've already missed Hanukkah. It's time to just open the thing.
no, you see, if we open it now, we have nothing badass to open on Christmas. So
All right.
we need to make Christmas one.
You can open 40 packs on Christmas Day. There you go.
Good.
Spend
To
more
play
money
on your new iPad.
Yeah, no. So, anyways, Jarek, welcome to the show. I'm anxious to have you on and get to talk about the news today and the different strategies and whatnot. And I don't even think I asked you to prepare a crazy game story, but if you have one, you can definitely share it with us.
I've been playing a lot this week, hoping to get a crazy game story, and just nothing's happened. And maybe it's because I'm playing those mage decks. And
Well, that's why.
yeah.
There's
so I was
nothing.
Like, well, what would my crazy game story be when playing?
Like crazy game
Maybe
story.
it's just that I lost.
Well, on turn 5, they cast Blizzard, and then on turn 7, they cast Frost Nova, and then they fireballed me to the face, and then on turn 8, they killed me. That's pretty crazy, right? No, it's not that crazy. That's what happens every game.
Actually, I did lose the game just before this one. Just
Oh,
before,
yeah?
Well, just before the show started.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Guess what? I've got an anti-mage deck for you today that we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about it in strategies. But
Exactly.
Yeah. But before we do that, let's get into this week's news.
Good news, everyone!
So last week we talked about all the changes that were coming in the patch and then told you that it wasn't coming the next morning. Boy, were we wrong.
It was literally queuing up that night.
Yeah.
It was getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
In my defense, I totally said they're going to be down for the better part of like 14 hours, so I bet this is the patch.
Yeah, we did
For the
speculate.
record.
In my
we didn't
defense,
know for
I
sure.
backtracked a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know they were going to be down that long, so maybe. But I think of all I had to go on is previous Blizzard games, which is WoW and StarCraft. And when they show us a preview patch, it's usually a month or two before we actually see the patch.
Very
Sure.
true. Very
So-
true.
This is also really early on in the whole patching cycle, so this might be how Hearthstone operates. We might just like, here's what's going to happen. It's happening tomorrow. Like this could be the way that things happen for a while.
Well, we're still in beta, right? So they're going to patch
yeah.
things up as soon as they possibly can because
Right.
they want us to test new things as soon as they
Sure.
possibly can so that
I've
they
been-
can get it out sooner. So I think this is probably going to be a rule from now on in the beta anyway.
I think
Yeah.
once the game is released, we're probably going to see balance changes come fairly rapidly. I think right now, the balance changes were small. You know, we only really saw like 4 or 5 cards changed because there was all this other stuff that they didn't even talk about. You know, like the fact that the rankings hit and the fact that they had all these bug fixes to do as well. So I think once all that's out of the way, I think we're going to hear about a patch like about a week before, and then it'll come out and we'll get pretty rapid balance changes because that's really all they're going to have to worry about at that point is new features and balancing. So
One thing I was thinking about as far as their patch cycle once it's live is that they maybe have a longer release cycle, kind of like the WoW content patches for like big new features, but then they could do like mini patches just for like, oh, we need to fix this balance wise and such.
yeah, absolutely. Like this card is ridiculous. Just a quick nerf on that or a quick buff on this or whatever it might be. That stuff could be done really quickly on the fly with a game like this especially.
You guys
so.
think we'll ever see something like a PTR where they test a good amount of balance changes
no,
in
I
a
don't
live
think so.
environment?
I don't know
before
if
they
we need it. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be tough to get people to actually spend their time in there because of the fact that, you know, like in WoW, like you're going in there to work on stuff that's going to come out so you can race to world first. I don't think we'll see players spend time in a PTR because they need to be in the game grinding out like the rankings and things like that. So
Well, it
Yeah, but with
exists
the
in-
ranking resetting so often, there's a really good chance that they could go in to see what the balance changes are going to be. If you've already ranked up, as high as you think you're going to do in a given season, then why wouldn't you go into a PTR and test the new balance and try to get a heads up on what the card changes are going to mean and what possible new combinations might be out there?
potentially, if like tournament players would do that, but I know the guy who was ranked 1 legend just went to bed and then woke up the next day and was ranked 4. So like while he was asleep, other people surpassed him. So right now the nature of ranked is you got to grind daily to stay on the top. Even once you're legend, even though you can't lose legend, there's numbers still there. So
Right.
So
he went from legend. He went from legend 1 to legend 4.
Yeah,
not rank 4.
He was number 1.
Right.
He was legend, and then he had the number 1, which meant he's the number 1 player in North America at that moment. Right. And he went to bed, and he woke up, and somebody else overtook him.
Right.
So,
Okay. I thought you meant he dropped down to rank number 4, and I was like, how did that even happen?
Yeah,
if
you
can't
get
lose?
locked to legend, but
Yeah.
No, I understand. I don't know. We have a PTR in StarCraft, and StarCraft is very much a similar. There's really nothing to be gained other than leagues and ranks. So
sure,
I can see it. Once it's a live game, and because like we're in beta, so you can just make live changes to the game, and no one can truly complain about it. People are going to anyway, but it's a beta. I would think if they're gonna make card changes once it's a quote unquote live game, no longer in beta, I think they'd have to do a PTR.
But one thing that StarCraft and Warcraft both have in common that isn't in Hearthstone is that those are very complicated games just in the way that they function. I mean, Hearthstone can have some very complicated strategies, but it's not like you're commanding units around the world, or like there's so many things going on in those games. And Hearthstone it's a bunch of stuff on a board, and yet we still have ghosting cards. But
yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the PTR has the benefit of like, oh, this obscure quest has problems, or when a Terran unit shoots something with this particular health, everything blows up.
Yeah,
well, no,
I think right now,
StarCraft,
probably for the foreseeable future, we'll have more of just a Blizzard internal server where they make the changes, which is what they're doing now, right? So they make the changes and then they play them. So it's Ben Brode playing with it, against Yang Wu, and then but I think that's probably how they'll go, at least for the time being. And then if they feel like they need to test things out as far as like server response and can the game handle these new loads and things like that's when probably we'll see more of a PTR, because you don't need the public testing this stuff out when they can just do it on their own. But
I could see it if they're adding like big new modes, like if they ever do like two-headed giant stuff.
Oh my god, please do, by the way.
Add it.
Yes.
Add it.
I really want that.
That'd be great. I think the bigger question though that we haven't asked is how are you guys enjoying ranked play? And Jarek, you're our guest for the day. I'll start with you. Now that it's out, now that you started the lowly angry chicken at rank 25, and you can journey all the way up to legendary to get the underwhelming innkeeper icon. How are you enjoying the new rank system?
Well, I don't know if I can journey all the way up there, but I am enjoying it quite a bit. I think it's really nice, and I think it's a very straightforward and clear system that's like, okay, you win a game and you go up, and if you have a win streak, you get multiple stars, and I think that previously it was completely opaque. It's like, well, how does this work? Maybe like this, I don't know. And now it's just like, as soon as it happened, I think everyone knew how it worked. And that alone helps it a lot. And because there's a lot of different ranks and the ranks are numbered, you can really tell, who your opponents are, what's going on. I love it. I think it's a great system. Although I think it's
Hi, sorry everyone. Twitch is awful, and we lost the live stream there, so we're just gonna have to continue forward. So, Dill, as you were talking about, you want to get more stars for being someone that's a higher rank than you.
Well, I'm just surprised that that's not part of the system. So currently, the way the system works is you gain a star from rank 25 to 20. You cannot lose stars. You can only gain them. Once you get between 20 and 5, you gain and lose stars, and you can have win streaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then once you get past 5, you can't even have win streaks anymore. So it really slows to a grind at that point. Basically, one win is a star, one loss is minus a star at that point. So it gets grindier and grindier as you go up. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit of a like I guess the chess ranking type thing where, you know, if I'm 1200 and I beat a 1500, I actually go up more and they potentially go down more. I kind of like that. I kind of think that would have worked here, but I think it's really good though.
Now, have you been playing people with that big of a disparity? You mentioned like rank 8 playing rank 4. I've only been playing people at my level or 1 point above or 1 point below.
I think the higher you get, the bigger the disparity potentially can be because there's less players. Mm-hmm. So I've definitely played people at least 3 higher or lower than me.
All right, what rank have you gotten up to, by the way?
9.
9. Okay, that's respectable. I was looking at. Did you look at the most recent top 100 players?
I did, yeah. A few Angry Chicken listeners are in there as well.
Yeah, and it's
I recognized some names. I was like, yeah, go team.
I was surprised that like rank 9s are in the top 100.
Well, that was put out like really soon after the patch hit. That came out on the 13th, so that was like 5 days after. Mm-hmm. And at that point, there was 1 legendary in North America. So that's, you know, out of the entire North American, that was the only legendary. So someone who was ranked 7 was like 57th or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but pretty soon it's going to be the top 100 is going to be all legendaries. It's. I mean, I know a bunch of people have since that list came out hit legendary. So, and then some of those people have dropped back down. Mm-hmm. They've slid the other direction because it gets really tough. I mean, the competition, like the meta at each rank is different. If you're at rank 18, there's one version of the meta game right there, right? You get up to rank 10, all of a sudden all the decks are totally different, and you have to adjust to it. It's really weird, but it's cool because now not everyone's playing the exact same game as everybody else. You know, the really high level players are playing really weird decks compared to what you see down lower. So it's cool.
Well, I think that's absolutely a great thing.
I love it. Yeah, because if you're at a lower level, you don't have to deal with these really weird, refined, legendary heavy. Like everyone's got Sylvanas and all that. You don't have to deal with that because it's a different metagame at that point. So
is there this point where you finally break through the wall of just bullshit mages that I'm currently drowning in?
Yes,
okay.
Actually. Once I got past 10, or actually like 11 or 12 too, the mages slowed down because what happened is those players were starting to counter the mages. So all of a sudden the mages, it wasn't working anymore. Now there's definitely still like the Giants mage and all that stuff, but a bunch of people basically made decks to counter those, and so once you get there, now all you see is, I mean, this is literally all I see. Druids, Warlocks, and Paladins. That's it.
Huh.
That is all I'm seeing now.
That's interesting to see the Druid rise to the top. I mean, we were expecting to see some of it after that 2P tournament. Mm-hmm. But they seem so specialized. They seem like it was like one thing.
It's the anti-warlock deck.
Yeah, it was made just to cut the Achilles tendon onto warlock decks.
Yeah.
But
it's weird though. There's like a rock paper scissors thing going. So warlock is like just this. You know, there's basically one kind of warlock. Really, there's a few board control type warlocks, but mostly it's aggressive. Just aggro locks.
Yeah. Well, the fact that their hero power removes life from themselves is it kind of it forces your hand. You need to kill your opponent before you run out of health.
But the other thing though is, I mean, not only that, but they can also afford to play stronger cards because they don't have to worry about playing card draw cards, you know, where you pay a penalty for the card draw.
That is a very good point.
But the warlock is basically aggressive. So then the druid is the anti-warlock deck, and then the paladin is the anti-mage deck. And the mage just is like gone. I still see some, but not very many. And the mages you see now are the giant mage and a couple of just straight up aggro mages, but not much.
Okay.
So yeah, I like it though. I like this alternating metagame, the shifting metagame as you rank up.
Where have you been playing, Garrett? Because I know I've been in and around 18, 19 most of the time, and I haven't seen many mages. I'm seeing hunters again.
What?
Yeah. like all the time.
I got up to 15 without losing a single game, and now I've been in limbo between like 15 and 17. But the last few days I've taken a break.
I see. I saw that you were at one point, I think I was 18 and you were 19, and I was like, or the other way around maybe. You were 18, I was 19. But anyways, I was within one rank of you, and I was just like, oh, this is so good. Like, I mean, we talked so much on the show about like how I kind of play casually and I spend so much time like trying to build my own decks and everything else. So it was just so gratifying to be like, I'm within one rank of Garrett. Suck it, Garrett. I didn't mean it. It was more a good thing for me than a suck at Garrett thing, but I was just so proud of myself. I was like, yes.
Jocelyn, what decks are you playing?
I've been alternating because nothing that I was using before the patch works now. Nothing. So I built a warlock deck, actually, using like, I think 4 or maybe 5 warlock cards, and the whole rest of it, I was just like, you know what? I talk so much about how the game is really balanced and, you know, you can do a lot with basic cards. So I picked almost all neutral cards, and I think the only legendary I have is Hogger. Mm-hmm. And that's only to get some taunt. But I was just like, I'm running up against all these mages that ignore taunt anyway, so I'm not putting any taunt in my deck except for this one legendary. And he never even really lasts that long anyway.
No, he dies too fast, yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to you, Sarah? Don't you have a Sarah?
I do, but I never get that far. I usually, you know, I've been losing games or winning games in, you know, 6, 7, 8 turns, so I never get far enough to actually use those big cards, so I took them out. I'm playing with a lot of, like, 4 mana cards.
Yeah, okay. That's smart. Jarek, what about you?
It's been working really well.
Where are you at as far as rank, Jarek?
Oh, I don't know how much we want to talk about that.
A lot.
I've actually, the day that the rank system came out, I was like, great, I'm going to go play and shoot up in ranks. And then I realized, wait a minute, it just came out. All the really hardcore players are here. And I just got stomped. And I was just like, oh, because I probably fall, I'd say somewhere between Jocelyn and Garrett in terms of how serious I am about the game. And you know, like I used to be a Magic player back in the day. Like I was totally in during 7th edition and Torment. But yeah, it's just I only play so much, and so then like I tried to jump in right away when it hit, and everyone was like, I felt like I didn't recognize any of the names, but I felt like everyone like, oh, they really know what they're doing, and they just had like an all-star deck and just destroy me. So I was like, so I came back. I just kind of like gave up for the night, and then got sucked into my priest who just hit level 90 in WoW, and then I came back, and now I'm shooting up levels again. But I'm pretty low still.
Okay.
I had a little bit.
Everyone was talking about, like, right at the beginning how, you know, oh, how do you guys feel about the Angry Chicken being the lowest rank? Like, I said this on Friday, and I swear to God, it still holds true. The Angry Chicken is, like, the toughest rank because you absolutely have no idea who's just starting their run through play mode. You could go up against, like, Trump or, you know, like, just someone who is just absolutely crazy constructed but just hasn't done anything yet. Or you could go up against a bot. Like, it's the complete and total range when you're down at the Angry Chicken rank. I lost, like, 5 or 6 in a row trying to get out of the Angry Chicken rank. It was ridiculous. And then as soon as I got out of 25, and then I just shot all the way up to pretty much where I am now. Like, it was so easy once you get out of that initial rank. Angry Chicken is the bomb, bitch.
The hardest game.
Absolutely.
You know, that brings up an interesting point, though. When the monthly reset happens, if you're a player who may not want to have to play against those types of players because you never know who you're going to get, it's like the game 1 of the arena. You know, you can play against a really good player or a really bad one. You have no idea. If you want to avoid that, just wait a week.
Just wait, yeah.
Yeah, wait a week for all those guys to clear
play arena.
And then, or play unranked or whatever, or just, go play WoW. And then basically all those players will rank up and get out of there, and it'll be, you know, nice for you because you'll be playing people that you probably are supposed to be playing against, which will be a lot less frustrating.
I really think that like the first day, the first few hours though is going to be the only time where you're at true risk of that because it's really a coin flip. I mean, I wouldn't say don't play for a week because the ladder reset. I think you should just get in there and play.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
it
But
is
if
kind
you
of a
feel
problem
frustrated
for-
by it,
I think it is kind of a problem for like the lower end players. Like if you know if they don't know like, oh, this thing's about to reset, and then they just log on and they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna play some, and then they just get destroyed and they're like, what's going on? It could be really frustrating.
Yeah. Well, usually Blizzard's pretty good at letting you know when things reset. We have seasons in StarCraft. And usually there's like a big thing when you enter, like season 2 has ended, season 3 has begun, and you have to do a placement match again and stuff like that. So they make it obvious, and I'm assuming and I hope that they do something like that for Hearthstone as well. I hope it's not just like you're back to rank 25 and they don't let you know, and you get in, you're just like, oh god, what happened?
Well, they should
well, they
because you're getting those card backs and stuff, right? So
Well, exactly. Yeah, so it should.
Yeah, and they showed the changes to the recent cards right on the log, well, not the login screen, but when you first start the game.
yeah,
And so maybe they'll do something like that. Like when you go into play mode, it'll be like, hey, everything just reset yesterday. You know,
Yeah.
have fun.
yeah. The BattleNet app should probably tell you like reset will happen in 1 week or whatever. So I assume that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, that would
please
be cool
do
if
that.
they had a constant ticker right on the
Yeah,
launch.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, T minus X amount of days till the rank resets. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, it would be. I know we don't have any other news listed here, but we should probably bring it up. EU has been down for like 4 days. You
Really?
guys kept up on this at all?
Really?
No, I have not. No,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
whatsoever.
Yeah. So
I'm in my
EU has
little
been,
NA bubble.
Yeah, EU has been completely down. If you're on the Hearthstone Reddit, it's been like every single day people are posting about it. Like EU is about to go back up, and then nope, never mind, it's back down again. But apparently they're having some big problems.
Jeez,
with,
and we're complaining because Twitch is down for us. I can't.
I know, right? Imagine if the whole game wasn't
There'd
working.
be flames
That
coming
would
out my
suck.
ears if I couldn't log into Hearthstone.
It would really suck. But apparently it's not just Hearthstone; it's Diablo as well. So there's something going on. Both
Right.
games in beta right now. So there's something with the beta servers, maybe. Or
Oh, so is
something
it
like that.
just Diablo's beta, or is it also just
I
like
don't know.
live Diablo
I don't know
servers?
if it's all log in or just. But I mean, I'm just saying, like maybe there's something to do with the fact that Diablo beta players are screwing with the regular servers or something. I don't know, but
Jerks.
sucks for the EU players. I know a few people have dual accounts. Some of the bigger streamers, so they've been able to play on NA. But yeah, a lot of people have been out about 4 days of playtime, which really sucks. So poor EU. Hope this doesn't happen to you guys again, and hope this never happens to us over here.
Yeah,
anyway.
I would be so
Yeah,
sad.
Blizzard hasn't said anything like, "Hey, this is the issue." Like, if it's been down that long, it has to be infrastructure.
Yeah, but this is why the game is in beta, right? Because they clearly, it's gonna be hard to handle the influx of players
Yeah.
when this game actually does go
Could you
live.
imagine
so
if that happened when it was no longer in beta, when it was a proper live game?
God, yeah,
Ah,
people would be
jeez.
pissed.
Just on fire.
Like you'd have to give, like Blizzard would probably end up having to give people like free gold basically for the days that they couldn't
Yeah,
play.
it gets hairy with this specific game because you can pay money for goods. Even though it's in beta, we can put real money into it, which all of us here have done, I think.
Oh yes.
So there's definitely still some type. You have a leg to stand on in being angry that the game is down. So
Yeah,
On the other hand, it doesn't have a subscription like WoW does. So like
True.
when WoW is down, people are like, well, I'm paying money to play the game right now.
Right this second, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in Hearthstone, you can just be like, oh, well, I'll play later. My cards will still be there.
true,
Yeah.
very true.
yeah. But it's still though, like there's people who feel like a day gone is a day where I could have ground out 30 wins and 100 gold.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me to see something like, oh, Hearthstone was down for 4 days. We're going to throw everybody 100 gold or something like that. Trying to make up for lost time. And I think that would be a good thing for Blizzard to do if that type of thing happens when the game is released, because it'll ease a lot of that tension and the forum bashing and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, and what's 100 gold? It's a pack of cards.
yeah,
Just,
it's not real. It's fake. Blizzard just has to push a button, give everybody digits. But
Oh, I'd rather have dust so I can craft just what I want.
that's a good point.
I always need more dust.
Yeah. Well, you can convert 100 gold into a pack, which would then be converted into dust.
finally
Yeah.
broke down and crafted a Tyrion today.
Oh
I
yeah.
have no dust left.
I crafted a few legendaries too, and now I wish I'd crafted different ones. I hate that.
I've done that. I've absolutely done that.
Yeah, like I really want Tink Master Overspark now, and I have no dust anymore.
Yeah,
I crafted 2 legendaries.
That's
I'm
the
like,
other
crap.
one I didn't craft. It was between that or Tyrion. I'm like, I want Tyrion more.
Yeah,
want Tyrion
Tink
more.
Master's so important. We should talk about this actually.
We will. It's coming up.
It's time, right?
It's coming up. It's time for strategy.
Almost.
Yeah,
Calm yourself.
Yeah, but good point. Let's talk some strategies.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
So the patch is out, and we've had now already multiple shifts in the meta. And I'm going to hit the Jocelyn brakes right there.
Yay!
Because we've had multiple listeners who are new to, they say they're new to card games, but I would argue that clearly you must be new to just competitive games in general, because the idea of meta exists in all competitive games.
Yeah. And for the record, everyone, I have had we need to define meta for the last like 3 or 4 weeks in the notes, so they just keep skipping me entirely. So.
I haven't seen it in the
You
notes.
asked. Didn't you ask straight out one time in the show, and I explained it at that? Maybe not.
I don't
I don't know.
Not
I
meta.
thought that happened.
Not meta.
Maybe we
Okay.
didn't. I don't know. Maybe we didn't highlight it.
Usually, I stop you if you go way too far into card game stuff.
I'm pretty sure we've touched on it. Maybe we didn't spotlight enough. Whatever the case, when we say meta, what we mean is meta game.
All right, let's move on.
Don't make me smack you. I will virtually smack you.
No, and for the purpose of competitive games, that means, in Hearthstone, when we strategize, when we make a deck, we're strategizing around known trends and known play styles. And those trends and those play styles that are a known quantity, that's the meta. That is the meta game. It's a self-referential pool of Hearthstone goodness.
Sure. It's what everyone else is doing. It's
Right.
yeah. Like if you're walking down the street and everyone's wearing red caps, you're like, man, the meta of this city is red caps these days. I mean, that's literally all it is. It's just a trend. It's what's happening right now. So
Yeah.
that's all you really need to know. It's not technically what the word meta means, like in most situations. It's in
It's what it
gaming,
means in this
people
context.
exactly like people grab words and make them mean what they want them to mean, and then it becomes a thing. And it's like tempo. Like tempo doesn't really mean what it means in a card game. Tempo means like using up all your mana to keep putting stuff on the board and controlling the board and things like that. It's not what the word tempo means in real life. So you have to kind of detach yourself from going, wait a minute, that's what that word actually
Definitions in
means.
one.
Well, the official definition of meta has the phrase self-referential in it, and that is exactly what meta is. In the case of Hearthstone, we discussed the meta is referencing itself. We're making decisions based off of a given truth.
My God, Undead Goat, you really need to drop this thing that I don't want to explain things to people. I really do. I explain things to people all the time.
Yes,
watch my
Dills
stream.
is awesome.
My
Dills takes
God.
a lot of time to explain things on his stream. It's just sometimes we don't necessarily want to interrupt the flow of the show to define things.
Had
I
some
want
long
everyone to understand what these terms mean, for sure.
Although I have to say, Undead Goat's mention of meta being like gamer speak for fashion, I think is a great
That's a
analogy.
very good analogy. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's really what it is. It's trends, it's fashion, it's what's going on right now in the game. So
Mage decks are fashionable, partly
they are
because
very
they're
fashionable.
Yes.
murdering everyone.
Right to the face.
Exactly. So Rank Play comes out last week. All of a sudden, we're faced with this 1-to-1, I don't know, what's the way to measure how good we are. We win a game, we get a star. We lose a game, we lose a star. If you're like me, you get in, and you just go on this winning streak. You're like, oh wow, I'm 15 all of a sudden. I haven't lost a game. This is looking great. And then you lose like 4 games, and like shit, I'm 17 again. What the hell is going on here? So all of a sudden, all the players in the game, at least who are somewhat competitive, are looking for a deck that's consistent, as opposed to something maybe they would prefer to play or something they like playing for flavor. So almost immediately, the hero that became the consistent hero, the one that everyone was playing for the sake of just ranking up, was the mage.
Yes.
Because, and we've talked about this week after week. We've had 2 balance patches now, and the mage hasn't been even sneezed on. It has been a
Is that like an official balance term? They haven't even sneezed at
they
the
haven't
mage yet.
touched this damn thing. It hasn't moved. They haven't changed it. They haven't nerfed it. They haven't buffed it. And it's been
Well, they buffed it by nerfing other people, actually.
Actually, yes, that's a really good point. It was indirectly buffed as a result of just about every other class being nerfed. But the mage has always been strong since the very beginning. Regardless of what state the meta was in, the mage has always been a viable option.
Yeah.
So we've got some variations. We have the giant mage, which is what you're talking about, Dills. We got the stalling, you stall the board frost mage, and then you've got like the minion based aggro mage, which is actually the mage deck I prefer. Those are all kind of the most popular.
I like it too. I like feeling proactive. I don't like the feeling of the stall mage where all I'm doing is freezing your board and then waiting to have all my burn cards in my hand. It feels almost like the one turn kill hunter deck almost.
It's the closest to it, I think, at this point. I'd agree with you there.
Yeah. It's really annoying to play because you're just basically always like, well, what should I do with my mana this time? Well, I guess I'll just freeze you and ping your face. All right. What should I do with my mana this time? I guess I could play an ice block. I got the mana. It's just really lame and feels passive. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, cool, there's my pyroblast. All right, good night. It's annoying.
Yep. So anyways, with this happening, all of a sudden, the competitive folks, they start looking around, okay, what do we do? How can we combat the mage while at the same time having a deck that works against other heroes as well? Because with this new rank system, you can't just make a single hero counter deck. You can't just make a deck that only counters mage, because then what are you going to do when you get the other 8 heroes?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
it's tough. It's a tough spot to be in. What I've actually noticed that worked for me was to make 4 or 5 decks I felt okay about, and then basically try to play one until I lose. Think about what happened why I lost, and then swap to something else for a little while. Because then I feel like I'm kind of countering the meta game that's going on around me at that current rank, because it is shifting, right? But what some people have come up with is kind of a catch-all deck, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So you and I have been talking about this off stream, especially yesterday, about because I've been struggling against the mage deck to the point where I went and made a mage deck, named it required for ranked play, and then begrudgingly played it. So then you're like, no, we've got a solution to this. Sit down on Uncle Dill's floor and let me tell you a story about a paladin deck.
Yeah. So this paladin deck, I feel like, okay, so I'm pretty sure it's Kuroki who came up with this paladin deck, and a lot of people have copied it, and he's actually at legend rank now. But I think he used to play StarCraft as well. I'm not sure exactly.
I'm not familiar with him.
But he's been playing a ton of Hearthstone. He's only been streaming for a week, but he's been doing competitive stuff for a while, and he's kind of part of the group of Trump and Artosis and Doa and some of these guys who would just sit around and just talk about decks all the time. There's the NA guys, and then there's the EU guys. So there's the Doge House guys, and then there's the unnamed NA guys. And he's kind of one of that group, I think. But he came up with this deck. It's really interesting. Basically, it's to counter a mage and then also be somewhat powerful against everybody else. So it's a paladin deck that features a lot of healing, tons and tons of healing. So lay on hands, 2 Guardians of Kings, an Earthen Ring Farseer is in there, and 2 True Silver Champions, and a Holy Light. So if you think about what the mage can do, the mage can burn you for 40 plus damage, but this guy can, with this deck, can actually out heal that. So the mage actually runs out of burn against this deck. I should say this though: the good part of this deck heals you a bunch, has a lot of ways to clear the board, has a lot of ways to deal with these big crazy cards, and it's really effective against everything. But it's not cheap.
No.
And it's got 4 legendaries in it. It's got a lot of epics and rares, and it takes a long time to win games. So
I love that it's a slow, more control-y deck.
Yeah.
I'm having second love. My first love in Hearthstone was the Shaman. I love that control-based deck, and I still really love the Shaman. But I love that this is a solid freaking control deck. I've only had a chance to play a couple of games with this deck.
Did you actually create this deck? Did you make
everything but the
copy?
damn Tinkmaster Overspark? I don't have it. Just for the time being, I just threw in a second Elven Archer.
A second Elven Archer is a great card, actually, in this deck.
With the
the other
qualities,
thing you could throw in is a Sword of Justice or something to fill it, because it's a 3 spot, you know?
Yeah, that's what I thought about after the fact. Although it did quite well for me. I won the games I played.
Yeah.
I lost one of them, but it just came down to a bad draw. I had a 7-drop, an 8-drop, and a 6-drop in my opening hand, and it was just like, oh god.
That's what happens with this deck, though, too. So the Fairy Dragons, it has 2 Fairy Dragons and 2 Pyromancers, and that's pretty much the 2 drops you have. The thing is, though, you don't actually want to use the Pyromancers on turn 2, because you need those to board clear. So,
yeah, but the funny thing is that there's so much self-healing in this, and there's so many ways to clear the board. I don't feel like our rule of thumb, have a bunch of 2-drops, applies.
It doesn't apply at all.
Like
let me just explain to you guys what the Pyromancer does, and then I'll say why this card works this way. So the Wild Pyromancer is a 3/2 that when you cast a spell, deals 1 damage to every minion on the board, including your own, right? So what you can do then with a card, a Paladin-specific card called Equality, what Equality does is it lowers the health of every minion on the board, including your own, down to 1. So if you play a Wild Pyromancer, then you play an Equality, you clear the board, bar none, unless they have a Blood Imp on the board. Unfortunately, a Blood Imp is direct counter to this, because a Blood Imp actually you do Equality, and then all their minions actually are at 2 health. Which is really annoying. But so that's basically a 4-mana board clear at any point in the game. You can just clear the board completely.
Yep.
So that card doesn't want to be played on turn 2. So I've actually found that when I play this deck, oftentimes on turn 2, I'm dropping a 1/1. Just using my hero ability.
Yep.
But it's fine. It doesn't really matter, because you're not worried about losing control early, because you just clear the board on turn 4 or 5, then you heal yourself up on turn 7, and you're good to go.
I at one point was as low, I think, at like 11 health in one of these games, and then later on in the game I was back up to 25. It was it's just I love it.
It's insane. Yeah.
I really
so there's
like
also let me just explain so there's Equality Consecrate, Equality Pyromancer, Equality Avenging Wrath. So Avenging Wrath is arcane missiles on steroids.
I love that card.
Yeah,
I love that. And everything goes dark, and it's just bam, bam, bam. Especially if they don't have any minions, and it's just 8 of those to the face. Oh, love.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
that
it's
card.
8 damage for 6 mana, so it's on par with the mage direct damage
and
stuff.
it's
everywhere.
It's 8 individual damage. So once you throw out the Equality, and you're pretty much guaranteed a board clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to get rid of the board. Then you've got things like Big Game Hunter to get rid of the Ragnaros that every single guy apparently has and plays in every deck. And then it's got Sylvanas, which can steal a Ragnaros. It's got Faceless Manipulator. I can copy your Ragnaros. It's got your own Ragnaros in it. So it's basically you could deal with about any situation. And there's some cards in here. Tinkmaster Overspark is actually in this deck just because so many people are playing this deck. That's the only way to deal with their Tyrion. So when they play Tyrion, you play Tinkmaster, which what Tinkmaster does is turn something into either a 1/1 squirrel or a 5/5 dinosaur. So basically, either one is better than Tyrion. So you don't really care what you get.
That was the thing I couldn't quite figure out. I'm like, all right, why is Tinkmaster in this deck?
Yeah,
and that's why when I was faced
counter.
with the decision of crafting him or Tyrion, I was like, I'm going to go with Tyrion.
Yeah. You can get away with just Tyrion because you can play your own Tyrion and it's fine. But that's literally why it's there, because that is how to deal with Tyrion.
Yeah.
And since everyone's playing this deck, that was a recent addition to this deck, was Tinkmaster. So it's interesting. And it's really tough to play at first, but you start to get the hang of it after a few games, and it's so solid. It's amazingly solid.
So I would think Sylvanas and Faceless Manipping their own Tyrion also isn't a terrible reaction to that.
My favorite play so far with this deck is Faceless Manip their Ragnaros, then Big Game Hunter that Ragnaros, and now I have Ragnaros and you do not.
I've done that. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like your own mind control. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. Also, I want to talk real quick about the Elven Archer and the resurgence of the Elven Archer.
So the 1/1 for 1 mana that does 1 targeted damage as a battle cry.
Yes. So I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but I was thinking about this card the other day. And basically what this card is a paladin hero ability and a mage hero ability for 1 mana at the same time.
It's a phenomenal card.
That's crazy.
It's really it's incredibly underrated.
Yeah. Like, how is that okay? How did Blizzard say, okay, well, it costs 2 mana for a paladin to summon a 1/1. Well, it costs 2 mana for a mage to do 1 damage anywhere on the board. You know what? Let's put both of those things into a card for 1 mana. Why not?
Well, because when you only have so much card real estate, you can only put 30 cards in, and playing this on turn 1 is not good.
Sure.
And there has to be a certain environment where this is proper to play in the late game.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And this
it's to
paladin
finish
deck is
things off.
absolutely the environment to play it in.
It's to finish things off. It's to pop bubbles.
Right.
It's a lot of things all in one card, and it's really good.
It is a giver of options, and I love giver of options.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I've been somewhat of a fan of the Elven Archer for a little while, but the only deck that it made it into was my Warlock deck. So now I'm glad to have found another deck I could put this guy in because I like this card. I pick it actually in Arena quite often now too, because the value is always there. It's the value Archer. It's great.
Jarek, were you the one that made the Tim Explosion deck on Hearthhead?
Yes.
Okay, I was running that rogue deck for a while, and that had 2 Elven Archers in it.
Yeah, that was. I feel like that deck really isn't that good anymore. But
it doesn't hold up now. But
yeah, the meta has shifted away. But like early on, like when everyone was playing basic decks, it was like I feel like I designed it without thinking about it to just destroy basic decks.
It was right after the wipe, and we had the first
Yes.
big patch, and the rogues got nerfed. That was a phenomenal deck because everyone thought rogues were unplayable. And that deck was all about, it was just pretty much every targeted damage minion and spell you could have.
Yeah, and a lot of that came out of like my love from for Magic. Like I loved red decks. I loved just having like Lava Axe and Lightning Bolt and all these different I want to target things, I want to destroy things. If I summon a minion, it's got to be something with charge because it goes right to your face. And I just like, how can I do this in Hearthstone? And that's how I came up with Tim Explosion. And it's just kind of like, oh, I'll target that, I'll kill that, and so it's about like killing and destroying your enemy's minions.
Did you ever see Day 9's video where he explains the different colors in Magic and what kind of people play those colors?
No, I would be.
Go listen to it and pay close attention to his opinion of red mana Magic players. It's very funny.
I don't only play red, but mostly.
It's okay. I really enjoy blue, and his opinion of blue is interesting as well. So,
blue players.
I gotta try this out in the current meta and see how this works. This looks really fun. Even if it doesn't win very much, I would still have fun doing this.
it dominates the early game. It tends to run out of gas in the late game.
Yeah,
Sure,
it does because it doesn't have any real big minions.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of an aggro rush type thing.
Yeah, I would almost
it's
just
like if they're summoning like Murlocs and stuff, it's just like okay, that Murloc's dead. And
I think I would. I would just play. I would just go to the face with like everything with it.
Yeah.
And I would love it. That would be really fun. Wow, you got Nightblade in here too. Oh my god.
I know what you think about that one.
This is amazing.
I heard you guys mention that on the show. I'm like, hey, that's in my deck. Not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's
not my favorite one of the deck.
But in this specific deck, that card makes a lot of sense. In most decks, that card wouldn't make very much sense. But in this deck, hell's yes. You know what I would probably add to this? I would find something to take out, and I'd put in Leroy Coldblood, just for like that instant 10 damage, 5 mana finisher. Because you play Leroy first, then you Coldblood him, plus 4 attack. Oh man, so
First,
good.
I'd have to have Leroy.
So good. Yeah, that's true. Step 1, get Leroy.
Oh, at least you have chicken.
Yeah. So we're gonna put this deck into the show notes so people can find it. But this Paladin deck is it's all over the high end metagame right now, and I think it will work low as well if you have the cards to put it together. Which it's I admit it's tough to have all these cards. The higher ranked players, most of them have spent money on the game and don't really care about having a card or not. They'll just get it if they need it. But so that's definitely there's a little bit of a barrier to entry with this deck, but it's amazing.
Yeah,
I played with it a bunch and it's really good.
I've only, like I said,
Think Master over Spark. I should try it.
Oh man, I wish we could trade.
Yeah. I've had a mixed luck with legendaries. I've bought a tremendous amount of packs, so I have a bunch, but I never get Ragnaros, never get Tyrion. Like I think my first one was Millhouse Mana Storm. I'm just like, oh my god! I was so tempted to shred it because it's such a bad that's one card that seems like it only works in a very particular situation. Like it only works if you know that playing him will give you lethal that turn. So like if you're going to charge him. Yeah. Because otherwise, if you just play him, it's like, okay, now your opponent's spells are all free. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna play this, and then next round you kill me.
Yeah, well, it's coin turn 1 Millhouse Mana Storm is like really the only time I'd feel like it's worth it, because then you have a 4/4 on the board on turn 1. But
then your opponent can play everything.
Yeah, but usually people don't keep spells at the beginning of the game. Usually they want minions, right? So that's why it works in that scenario.
If I am keeping a spell, it's a low mana spell that I probably could have cast anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you do keep a spell, it's probably like Frostbolt or something like that, right? Like you're not keeping Pyroblast at the beginning. So unless they drew into it, which is random, but
if I don't see a Rockbiter weapon or a Stormforged Axe in my opening hand, I'll keep the Lightning Bolt on my Shaman. But that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, Lightning Bolt's fun.
Millhouse is one where I feel like it really needs a buff because it's just it's so difficult to use in anything, and I don't know. I hate that card. It was my first legendary, and it kind of felt like a kick in the nuts.
Yeah, it's a total gamble card.
Rough.
It's not the worst legendary, though. I think there's some worse ones out there.
What's
like
worse?
Lorewalker Cho is like so situational. It's fine, but
Yeah, that one's more of like that one feels like one of the goofy ones.
Yeah, it's just a mess around. Yeah, it's not ever like Millhouse could still win you a game. Lorewalker Cho could maybe in certain scenarios, but basically you just don't play a spell if you're the other guy. And then Lorewalker just sits there like a chump with an 0-4 body and doesn't do anything. So
fun stuff. So as far as so Paladin decks again, this is very much for upper rank play type of stuff. Have you guys found any like cheaper decks, or what decks have been working for you guys personally? I mean, I guess Dales, you've been playing this because you're rank 9.
Well, I'm playing this, and I'm still playing like the more mid-rangey Paladin deck. It's actually a lot of basic Paladin cards, really. And I'm also playing Warrior, Rogue, Warlock, and Shaman. So I'm staying away from Mage, man. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah,
it just feels cheap.
I gave up on the Mage as well.
I made one. I win with it. I don't like playing it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the meta. I'm just like, I'm just a cheap bastard, just trying to get cheap ranks, or if I just truly don't particularly like the way the Mage plays. But whatever the case, I'm kind of bored with it. The Warlock deck, the aggro Warlock, still doing okay. Still doing well. Yeah. It can take out mages if you get a good draw.
Provided they don't freeze all your crap every turn.
If you don't get an Ice Mage, you've got a good chance to win with the Warlock deck. Yeah. My Shaman deck's been doing pretty well. You got an email from a listener or a tweet.
A tweeter? A tweet. Got yourself a tweeter?
Yeah, from one of our listeners we hear from quite often. John Chan. Get tweets from him all the time saying he's running my Shaman deck and doing pretty damn well. He specifically asked me, what do I do against the Ice Mages? And I'm just like, dude, let me know when you figure it out, because I don't know.
You die. You know what you do, though, actually? So I've been doing this. I've been putting Spellbreakers back in all my decks. Mm-hmm. And then the Ice, the Mages freeze me, and I just like silence my own guys and still get some damage every turn. And it seems to actually work. Like games where I was losing by a little, now I'm actually able to get that one extra hit of damage out that seemed to make the difference. So
Spellbreakers are just like always good.
Yeah, they're good cards, man. They're good cards. So I've been taking out like things like Dark Iron Dwarves, which are really good, but the Dark Iron Dwarf gives me 2 damage that then never does anything because it's just frozen. Whereas the Spellbreaker gives me, my actual entire minion unfrozen and can actually do damage. So
I have a question about silencing, because I just found out last week that you can silence a frozen minion to unfreeze them.
yes,
Have you done the science to silence a silenced minion and see if the silences cancel each other out?
They do not. No, once a minion is silenced, it lost everything. You can't silence it to then gain everything back. So, like let's say someone turned you into a sheep. You can't silence the sheep and turn it back into whatever it was. Like let's say someone silenced off your attack buff, you can't silence it again to put the attack buff back on.
Yeah, I think of it as a permanent
polymorphing
effect.
is different though, because that's changing it into a whole different minion. Same as the frog. The what is it?
Hex.
When you get frogs
Hex.
hexed. Yeah, thank you. Those are changing it into something entirely different. But if you just have that big red X through, whatever your minion has, whatever effect it's got, then
but it can get
I feel
buffed
like you should
again.
be able to silence the silence.
Yeah, but it could get buffed again. So you could silence off the new buff, but you can't silence to get rid of. I think an unsilenced card would be very powerful, and I don't know if we'll ever see it, but it would be incredibly powerful to unsilence something.
Maybe someday. I mean, there's so many mechanics that they could add, down the road. Who knows what we're going to see?
Yeah.
True.
I would like to see. I would definitely like to see like some sort of unsilenced mechanic, maybe. But I also like to see spell taunt at some point. I think that could be really good.
Yeah.
Be very. I mean, right now you have counterspell and spellbender, but the mages have that. So really, more stuff the mages get to have that we the rest of us
That
don't get to
totem
have.
shamans have in WoW that taunts a spell effectively.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't know if they have it anymore, but
They do.
Oh, they do.
I can't remember the name of it.
There's the engineer thing too that like basically taunts attacks and stuff. I mean, there's definitely like a precedent for stuff like this.
I want
So-
shaman
Grounding totem.
grounding totem. There you go.
I want shaman minions that, because you've got like the gnome that comes out and gives you a 2/1 dragon on top of it. 2/4.
Are you talking about the
Mr. Bitey.
Yeah, I just know it as the Mr. Bitey card.
Yeah,
I
Mr.
want
Bitey.
I want a shaman minion that comes out. It's like a 2/2 or 3/3, and then gives me a totem. Like,
Okay.
and it's some kind of special totem that's not in with my roll the dice, pay hero ability, get one of 4 possible totems.
Well, if they added a grounding totem to the shaman, that would be like the total anti-mage deck, right? Like you could have an O2, but the mage would know like any spell I cast is redirected to that totem, so they would have to put a minion out to kill the totem off first before they could then cast their spell.
Or play a crap spell.
Yeah, or play a crap spell to suck up the spell. Yeah, that would be pretty cool, actually.
They could be. I like that. Like that idea.
Yeah. All right, Blizzard.
Get on it.
Here you go. These ideas are for free here. So,
Or you could hire all of us, and
well, actually,
That'd be
they
okay.
came up with it. It's just in WoW, not in Hearthstone. But,
yeah. Blizzard's like, no, I'm pretty sure you guys got that idea from somewhere. Just
yeah.
saying, sounds pretty
Nope.
familiar.
Brand new.
Oh, man.
Brand new.
Jocelyn,
So
what are
it's
you
like-
playing again? Didn't you say what you were playing? But I
Yeah,
forgot.
Warlock. I
Oh,
threw it in the chat room actually, and they've been giving me some good tips. So
Oh, nice.
It's also in
I
the,
don't have any blood imps, so I guess I have to go make those.
Kind of need those. Warlock is.
I've been doing well without it though. I was trying really hard just to play with the really, really basic neutral type cards.
Mhm.
And it's been going well. I've won more than I've lost since I started playing the Warlock deck. So,
All right, I got advice for you right now.
if it's
Drop-
blood imps, I don't want to hear it.
Drop the sense demons because you don't have blood imps to try to get to. So
No, I
don't
have
think you need
my taunt and my
Yeah, you
the
got
very
Void Walkers.
scantily clad, very
you got your
scantily clad girls.
succubus and your void
Yeah.
walkers. But the problem with sense demons is it's very specific to those 2 cards, and those 2 cards aren't powerful enough to cycle your deck for. I think you'd
Yeah,
be better. I think with
you're-
just some sort of other card drawing mechanic,
If
like
I
a.
have none left, it gives me imps.
Oh my god, worthless imps.
You're
yeah.
You're playing
Love
3.
those.
You're playing
But
3
they're
mana.
golden because my sense demons is golden.
Yeah,
So
A
they're
golden,
pretty.
worthless imp.
Yeah.
yeah. But I think you could replace that slot with something more effective. I bet.
The Priestess
Mm-hmm.
of Elune isn't my favorite card in the world either.
Yeah, but it makes sense here. I think Because I do agree, if you're playing more of a control-y warlock deck, basically what the priestess does is give you two more life taps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's terrible here. I think if you're doing like an aggro deck, like that card doesn't fit. But if you're doing more of a control-y style, which it looks like this more is,
Yeah.
that could work.
That's how I play. I can't wrap my head around just going to the face.
Sure. Sure.
I don't know. I just can't play like that. Even if I build a deck that's based on just go at the face, then yeah. But I definitely to build that deck, I just went, okay, that's it. I literally started with a warlock at level 1. I never played a warlock before, had no warlock cards, and just went, okay,
Yeah.
neutral. I'm going right into play mode at level 18, and let's see what happens. And it's been pretty successful. So.
Oh, you know what else too? Replace the Bloodfin Raptors with Oozes, because you might as well.
Oh, right, because of the whole weapon thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they're the
literally
same exact card.
stats, but it's just a better card.
Yeah, same exact card, but with an extra ability on top of it.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Looks good though. I like
Sweet.
this deck.
There'll be a link to
Thank
this
you.
to her deck that we're talking about in the show notes as well. And people have been asking where the show notes are. Go to amove.tv/TAC. That's the homepage for the Angry Chicken, and then find the post for the specific episode you're looking for the show notes of, because I post it every week, and I always get that message like, "You never post the links." I'm just like, "It's always right here in the same spot every week. Why aren't you looking or
Oh,
listening to
Garrett
me?"
Rage.
Garrett Rage.
How does this voice sound like Rage?
We need a bumper, a Garrett
Yeah,
Rage
the
bumper.
Garrett Rage bumper.
I don't
Totally.
get
The only
it.
problem is he controls the bumpers. He would never
That's
play.
true.
I don't get how I go off about a broken thing that Blizzard agreed with once, and now I'm known as the ragey guy. I don't get it. It's not fair.
Just like you apparently want to keep giving me crap about saying the word 300 one time instead of 30, which I see in the very next segment.
300?
Yep.
What are you talking about?
However, he clearly shares Dill's hatred of math. Yeah, I'm
no,
sure
no,
that's
no.
going to go on forever.
No, that
and
was
ever,
because
right?
you said it was really hard to play a hunter because of Wind Fury, and I was like, yeah, times
yeah,
2 is
sure.
real tough.
Sure.
Real tough. Anyways, let's get into the crazy game stories.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
I love that.
Such a delightful
much.
delightful bumper.
And
So
if you can't get enough of that, go to Hearthhead. Look up the deck.
That's
You
true.
can put it on
You
loop.
that over and over.
you
again.
can record it and then turn it into a soundboard and crank
Yep.
call some people. It'd be lovely. It'll be just absolutely wonderful. Now, if since we have a guest, it would traditionally be there. I'd let them have the floor and tell a crazy game story. But Jarek, you let the you spilled the beans and said you don't have anything interesting.
I have something.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
I remember a couple weeks ago, you guys were talking about how the metagame had become super aggressive, like even in Arena. And Dills was saying, like, oh, people just go through, you just pick whatever's super cheap. And just pick that. And you just burn through and win. I was like, seriously? And I done okay at Arena, but I think like my highest has been like 4 wins. And so I was like, all right, I'll give this a shot. And so I went in, picked all the cheap stuff, and that was the first time that I went 0-3. I was just like, wow, that sucks. And I think I just kind of missed the boat on that. So I think the moral of the story is if you hear something on the Angry Chicken about where the metagame is, think about how to counter that, because it's
Sure.
already changing.
Yeah, it is. That's the thing. Like, we talk about this stuff, and then tomorrow it's different. Like, that's how fast this game is moving right now.
Yeah.
Especially in the new ranking system, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've actually made some changes on Hearthheads to the way we handle ratings to try to help with that, actually. There's a feature I should have mentioned earlier. We changed the ratings on decks so that we have more focus on like how they're recently rated. So like if you go to decks, it's actually sorted by their recent ratings instead of their overall ones. And then
Oh,
the front
nice.
page has the guides shows like what's recently gotten popular. And Dill's deck has been on there.
Oh.
Your milkshake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you
Fancy
can
and
see it on the front
famous.
page of Hearthhead.
Wow, that deck is totally out of the meta right now, by the way. There's
But it's
no
a
way
fun
that
deck.
deck would ever
People
work.
are rating it up. People go there, people rate it up, and then it shows up as popular.
That's great, because there's a couple of competitor sites, and they drive me bananas when I go there and I'm seeing first patch rogue miracle decks. I'm like, but these aren't good anymore. I
Yeah.
want to see what's current.
Which
Yeah.
one was your milkshake deck?
The milkshake deck was the one where basically every card in it has to do with either stealing your card or copying your card or taking your card from you.
It was that ridiculous priest deck we made.
Priest? Oh, priest.
Yeah. Or killing your card or whatever. I mean, it ended up...
Oh my god, it's number 2.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It ended up being... It gets so fun to play, but... Oh my god, it's not good. It is incredibly fun to play, though. I will say that.
The front page just picks randomly from like the top 15 recently rated decks or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's always a little bit different, so you can keep refreshing it and see different stuff.
Oh, cool.
So I guess you're not number 2 then. Nice try, though.
Oh, well.
Sometimes.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess it depends.
That's great. Oh, man, I love Hearthhead. Sorry to hear that our advice didn't do well for you there, buddy.
Oh, look at that. Okay, yeah, I see it not as number
experience.
2. I see it as much lower, but still in like the top 10 or something.
Still
That's
there,
cool.
yeah.
I feel like the meta is slowing down a bit because, like, I mean, the Warlock deck has now been popular for almost a month.
Yeah, that deck though is, I mean, I think a lot of people really like it too because you can win so fast. You know?
Yeah.
Like you can basically get in there and grind out wins because, you know, it's like I either lose fast or I win fast. And you know, if I lose fast, fine. I queue up again. I keep going, and then when I win fast, I can get on a little win streak and tear through. So,
yep,
a lot of people like it for that reason.
Exactly. So, anyways, Dills, what's your crazy game story from the week?
Oh, I got a good one this week. Unfortunately, this didn't happen on stream. I'm really annoyed when really cool games don't happen on the stream because I can't highlight them.
Oh, yeah, I'll play a game on my lunch or something. I'm like, that was amazing, and
yeah,
then
you're like, what?
No
What
record
is
of
this?
it whatsoever.
Yeah. So I'm playing this new Pally deck, right? And I'm trying to grind my way from 9 up, and it's really difficult. And everyone else is playing the same damn deck, so it gets really weird. Anyway, I have Sylvanas on the board. I have less than 8 health. The other guy has less than 8 health. He plays Rag and a hero power. So basically, he has 50-50 chance to hit me or hit Sylvanas, right? Rag hits Sylvanas, killing Sylvanas, and then I have a 50-50 chance to either take a 1-1 or Ragnaros. So I take Ragnaros, obviously.
Or a
and then
segment.
I top deck a Guardian. I heal myself up a little bit, play another hero power, and that's the end of my turn. So that's 9 mana or whatever. The other guy is still lower than 8th. He still has the 1-1 on board because I just took Ragnaros. I can't attack with Ragnaros, right? So I play those 2, hit end turn. I have a 50-50 chance to hit the guy in the face. Rag hits his face. I win the game. Basically 3 50-50 coin flips in a row, and I won each one of them and won the game. So
nice.
That's so great.
It's so good. That's what Ragnaros does. Like Ragnaros is one of those cards that it's so amazing, but there's so many situations where you're like, well, I could put this down and I could win. Or I could put this down and lose. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. But at least I give myself a chance. Like, I had a game the other day. The guy had 11 health. And I was playing my Shaman. And I had Ragnaros in my hand. And he has lethal on the board. So I top deck a Lightning Bolt or something like that. So I'm like, well, the only way I can win is to Lightning Bolt his face and then play Rag. So I do it. And it freaking hits his face and I win the game. You know, it's like a 25% chance, but at least you have a chance with Ragnar.
You know something's going to get mauled.
Yeah, exactly. But I've been watching Rekful play on his stream. He's back to streaming. He's streaming a lot of Hearthstone, and he's been calling Ragnar a Swagnaros because he always comes through for him, I guess. So came through for me in a big way there. It wasn't even my Rag too.
I've had multiple games this past week where I've had the opportunity to put down a Defender of Argus to buff my Ragnaros into a 9/9 with taunt.
That's a good play, though. Actually,
no, I'm not saying it's a bad play.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it rarely happened for me before, and then I had it happen like 3 or 4 games this past week.
Yeah,
and
if they have to bust through your, because you can kind of ignore Ragnaros and just throw minions on the board and hope he hits one of them and not your face or your good one or whatever.
Right.
But if you give him taunts, like, well, now I have to bust through a 9/9 Ragnaros.
Yeah.
Sucks.
I don't think there's a
killing
safe
them at random.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a safer feeling in Hearthstone than Ragnaros with taunt.
It's pretty good. Not a bad place
possibly
to
if you're playing a paladin and then you like pop a bubble on him as well. Like there's few ways to make that scenario even cozier of a safety blanket. But anyways,
I feel like one day we're gonna see a card that's like Ragnaros, but mixed with the Mad Bomber, where it could hit you as well. It would be cheaper, but it would, it'd still be kind of worth it because
5
of the
mana,
scenarios
8/8
where
that
it
does
might
8
work.
damage, but randomly to anything.
Yeah, totally randomly. How insane would that be? I would probably play that card just for the hell of it, just to enjoy
science.
the craziness that could occur.
Ragnaros roulette is what we would call that. Oh man, that's great. So my crazy story from the week. I was playing ranked in the new ranked mode this week, and I was going up against the shaman. That's right, I wasn't playing a shaman this time. I was being a sellout and a coward and playing an aggro mage deck.
Oh my god, this guy.
So on the shaman's 5th turn, he played the elite Tauren chieftain.
I saw this week too.
Is the only time I've seen this thing in game because I'm not running it in any decks.
Nope.
So it gave me Power of the Horde, which is the card that gives you a random Horde hero. Later in that same game, he threw down an Imp Master, and then he apparently got the card I Am Murloc off of Elite Tauren Chieftain, which summons 4, 5, or 6 1/1 Murlocs. So he puts down the Imp Master, he plays I Am Murloc, and he gets 5 freaking 1/1 Murlocs. But also, oddly enough, this locks himself out of adding any more Imps. So the Imp Master is just killing herself slowly without adding anything to the board because he has 7 minions on board now. And it was just, I'm just like, oh no, this is not good. So next turn, all I was able to do was kill his Taunt Totem. So then, boop, flop the turn, he bloodlusts all of these Murlocs, the Imp Master, and I'm just sitting there like, oh no. And he so smugly does well played before he even attacks. And then he attacks, and everything's attacked, and I'm sitting there, wait a minute, I didn't explode. Oh, I have 2 health, and I have lethal damage in my hand. Huzzah. So math is hard. Do math, kids.
Well, he probably realized that you were going to have a Pyroblast next turn, so he's like, I guess I just do this, and then hope that it's enough.
He did the
probably
oops, though,
he didn't even add it up. Like, just assumed it must be enough, right? It's Bloodlust. There's 7 guys on board.
There was a definite pause and a deliberate oops.
Yeah.
After he did that, so I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry. I thought you had me too.
Yeah.
Like that
Those
many
are the
guys
best.
on board. Like I swear to God, I was dead. I was like, no, I'm not going out like this. I did so well. And I'm like, oh wait, I really am not going out like this.
Yeah.
So
There's been a couple times I've done that kind of stuff, like where I'm the guy who falls just short of lethal because I have no other option. So I'm like, well, I could sit here and add it all up, but I know it's my only play, so I'm just gonna do it all, and then we'll see if it's enough. And when it's not, it sucks. Then it's like, well, concede. Okay, goodbye.
yeah, that's a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Bad place to be. So, anyways, Jocelyn.
Well, first of all, I don't actually have a crazy game story, but I have a crazy game story that's not actually a Hearthstone. So here comes our 1-star review. I killed Rag in WoW for the first time this week. So
What?
all by
Nice.
myself.
Wait,
So, yeah.
and
Which, by the way,
old
he
school
does-
rag or Firelands rag?
Old school.
Old school rag. All right.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, he does a
That's
lot
fun.
more than 8 damage to your face.
Old
Very,
school
very
rag
true.
is in a much cooler room than new school rag, by the way. That room that he's in is
That
amazing.
room was pretty cool.
It's so awesome. Yeah.
Took me forever to figure out how to actually make him show up, but then I did, so it's fine. I was like, Ragnaros, where are
I
you?
know you're in this big puddle of lava. But what the hell?
I'm in your space, touching your stuff.
We got a crazy game story from a listener this week. Jocelyn,
Yes,
if
sorry.
you'd like to read it, by all means, since you don't have a story.
All right, so this comes to us from also Garrett. He
Oh.
said he was
Power
playing
to the
against...
Garretts.
What?
Power
Holy-
to the Garretts.
I'm playing against a warrior with my shaman deck. It's fairly late in the game, and he has a board flooded with low-cost minions. Novice Engineer, Loot Hoarder, Tauren Warrior, Shattered Sun Cleric, Dragonling Mechanic,
That's the
which
one
is
I
the
was
one that we
trying to
couldn't think
remember
of earlier, and Mr. Bitey. So that's 6 minions on the board, and he tops it off with an armor smith placed all the way over to the right, which is very important. Okay, I think to myself, that's fine. I just pulled a Lightning Storm, and with my Dalaran Mage on deck, I can probably clear his board completely. Turns out that Lightning Storm hits minions from left to right, and will pause after every minion to let an effect like the Armor Smiths take effect. That actually happened to me with my crazy Paladin all the damage spell. It takes so long because it kept hitting the, I don't know, something with Bloodlust, or whatever that is, Enrage. And I was just like, oh, this is taking forever. Anyway, sorry. So he had to sit there and painstakingly watch the Lightning Storm animation flash, apply damage, apply armor over and over and over again until he had a ridiculous 7 armor. Before this, he had only 6 health left, but now effectively has 12. Of course, on the next turn, I top deck a Lava Burst, which would have killed him, but end up losing the turn after that. Damn you, Hearthstone science.
That sounds, yeah. I want to correct something, though, about this. Because while it looks like Lightning Storm hits minions from left to right, what he was actually seeing was just the fact that Lightning Storm didn't kill the Armor Smith, well, it didn't even matter if it did, but Lightning Storm is going to apply an effect for every single thing. It actually hits everything at once, hence why, like a raid leader, a Cult Master. A Cult Master will draw a card every time a minion dies, right? Mm-hmm. But if I Lightning Storm and he dies at the same time as everything else, you actually don't get any cards. So if this were true, the Cult Master on the right would mean that you'd get like 3 cards, like 1 from each one on the left, you know? That's not actually what happened, but if taking damage does an effect based on that Armor Smith, it has to stop and then do the animation of it being applied for each one. So that happened left to right, but the actual damage of Lightning Storm happened all at once.
Simultaneously, yeah.
Yes. Just to make sure that that's clear, because I'm sure like he thinks, oh, it's all left to right. It's not true. It's all at once, but the animation of each thing happened left to right.
Right,
so
that's the sequence it defaults to if something's happening to the whole board.
It's actually bad that Blizzard does that, because then it looks to a player like that's what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the damage happens, and then it slowly goes through and resolves all the...
It resolves all the situations that occurred because of that damage, yeah. So, like, let's say you had somehow acquired 7 Acolytes of Pain, right? And then you Lightning Stormed. They would all take damage at the same time, but from left to right, each one would stop and go, hey, I took damage, here's a card. And the next one would go, hey, I took some damage, here's a card. So, but actually, they all took damage at the same time. So,
you know what? It's a great example is if you have a Blood Imp in the middle, all your other minions are still going to survive if they were just brought down. You know, like if you do 1 damage to everything and everything has 2 health, they're all still going to survive because they take damage in their Blood Imp shield.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, the minions to the right of the Blood Imp would die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Zoni asks, has this been tested? Yes, this has been tested. And the test is the Cult Master. The Cult Master seals it, because if you have a Cult Master out there in the middle of the board, and then you Flame Strike or whatever, you don't draw any cards off the Cult Master. So
yep.
They all die at the same time.
Your Lightning Storm must not have done enough damage to kill the Armor Smith.
Well, that's the thing. Well, even if it did kill the Armor Smith, it doesn't matter, because the text on the Armor Smith says,
"Oh, right,
every time a minion takes damage,
not on
so
death."
They all took damage.
The Cult Master is on death.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So I understand that. So thanks.
But that is insane. That sucks.
It's still a crazy story, nonetheless.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that our listeners don't incorrectly go out there thinking that everything's going to happen from left to right all the time.
Yeah. No,
although I do think it's a little confusing that doesn't work for the Cult Master when it does work for other minions.
Well, yeah, but that is why that's the test, because the Cult Master, something has to die before the Cult Master, right?
Yeah.
So in that scenario, technically the Cult Master died at the exact same time. So.
And it makes sense for balance reasons as well.
Yeah, it would be kind of insane if like a Cult Master hit the board, it'd be AoE protection, because you can't now AoE my board because I'd give you 5 cards, you know? That would be insane.
Oh man, that would break the game.
Yeah. Oh my god, in every anti-mage deck.
All right, well, let's get into this week's emails to finish out the show.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, did you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Someone catch that damn chicken. Jeez.
Chicken's all over the place.
Just
you know,
running
I
through
found
this
something
podcast.
else about that Hello Brother thing. If you play that card, why am I
Illidan?
spacing on the name?
Illidan?
If you play Illidan against the hero that is his brother, right? Isn't there one?
Malfurion?
The
Yeah.
druid.
There you go. He says hello brother when you play him.
We said that last week.
No, I thought we said that he does that when he attacks.
No, we said that when,
No.
when he
Oh, okay,
goes
never mind.
against a
Well, I
druid.
wasn't paying attention.
It's a Easter egg.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention then.
But when I hear that bumper,
As I do.
when I hear that bumper, I like to imagine that little kid is actually Illidan in disguise. Like, did you get my message? It's, hello, brother.
So, a kid, that's Simon Pegg.
It's who?
It's Simon Pegg. That's from Shaun of the Dead.
Well, the beginning part,
Oh,
but the rest of it is Illidan.
huh. I'd have to
check.
rewatch that. It's been a
And
long
six.
time since I saw that.
That's when he's talking to his mother.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we get into the emails, we had multiple listeners write in claiming that they were indeed our oldest listeners. After a listener wrote in last week saying that he was the oldest in his mid-40s. Terry so far wins, being 56 years old. Congratulations, Terry. We also got an email from a guy calling himself Eagle Scout who said he is quote-unquote 50-something years old and currently has a complete collection in Hearthstone, complete with over 60 golden cards.
Wow.
So, damn.
Wow.
And also Kevin, who's 50 years old, and said that he's so old that the Dead Kennedys are one of those newfangled punk band stills. So, thank you for your emails, old angry chicken listeners.
My favorite kind.
Yep. You can send your emails, by the way, to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from Icewarm, friend of the show. It says, hello, Garrett, Dills, and Jocelyn. The way I would have nerfed Unleash the Hounds would be to just have the card say something like, choose 3 beasts, they get +1 attack and charge. I think this would be a better nerf than the one they announced that made the card useless. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks and take care.
Choosing would slow the game down, though.
Yeah, I don't think they'd ever
It
put
would
something
have to
like
be
choose.
random.
Yeah, it would be random. That's the Blizzard way, right? So,
Well,
Although they could have like dropped the charge and added an extra damage. Like that's what I was kind of expecting. Is okay, we'll just make it +2 damage to all your minions, possibly even just this turn. Although then I was like, well, then it's pretty much just a bloodlust.
yeah.
And I think I'm betting that came up, but that they wouldn't want to have someone else doing basically the same thing.
Right.
That's what they're trying to avoid, yeah. But here's the thing: there are ways to make this work. The trick is, though, you have to have not a buzzard, but you can put a buzzard down the same turn, but the hyena you have to have already on the board so it can attack after you do this thing. But I've also seen people do it where they play it and then they could play something like a mountain giant right after they play it. And then you get like a really cheap mountain giant, because what the mountain giant does is for every minion on the board, it costs 1 less mana, and it starts at 10. So you throw out your Unleash the Hounds, and what it actually will do will put 5 beasts on the board, and suddenly your mountain giant is really cheap. So you can do weird little plays like that. It's still got some use. It's just not nearly as good as it was. So I
Absolutely.
don't know. I've seen people get creative with it. We'll see if they figure it out.
yeah, we kind of narrowly discussed it as a defensive card last week just because it's based on what your opponent has. But when you think about it as an offensive card, there are a couple avenues you can approach.
Yeah, it's still bad, though.
I feel like it really needs to have a set number, because if it's based on your opponent, it's not going to be a consistent card in anything, because you don't know what you're going to come up against. You don't know how well you're going to do or not do against them, unless you're somehow playing a hunter deck where you want your opponent to build up a lot of minions, and I'm not really sure how that would come about.
Yeah.
Well, that Murloc Warlock deck would be something you could, because they get so many Murlocs out so quickly. So if then on turn 4, instead of taking a whole bunch to the face, you can go Unleash the Hounds and have a 1/1 for all their Murlocs and kill off some of
Could be a
those.
Murloc defense, but
Yeah.
But then you can still only kill a few of the Murlocs, because they're going to have more than 1
Yeah.
health. You know?
Yeah, sometimes. It depends which ones they get out there, but...
But then you can play Unleash the Hounds and... Oh, wait.
See, that's the thing, though. Generally, the Murloc deck will first play... Like, they'll play, like, 3 Murlocs at a time, and one of them will buff the health of the other Murloc. So, like, they're not ever a bunch of one...
Yeah, they're all going to be, like, 3-4 then and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the
And
best
you're
I
like,
can think
"Ha-ha,
of in a week,
1-1."
okay? A week, that's the best I could do.
Yeah. I've seen some people... I mean, you saw that video I sent to you, Jocelyn.
I did, yeah. That was amazing.
But that's such a specific situation.
Right.
Yeah.
You cannot count on that.
Jocelyn,
ever.
I just imagine you in one of those awful commercials with the really sad animals with the Sarah McLachlan music playing, except you're like this champion for the hopes and dreams of bad Hearthstone cards. Every week you
I'm
come...
just like holding the cards, being like, "Don't disenchant the hounds, come on!"
For only a little bit of patience per day, you can keep Unleash the Hounds relevant in the meta.
If we all do our
You're
part.
not the only one, Jocelyn. Chanman was trying to make that work so hard one night. He got it to go off a couple times pretty good, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it just sucks. It's too bad, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the card either by any means. But
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey.
Hunters are... They I think they're the ones who need the most buffs right now. And
Mm-hmm. And they got nerfed.
they're hurting.
Yep.
It doesn't seem fair, does it? Yeah. Yeah, I think Warriors and Hunters could really use some help right now.
Mages need to be nerfed, and Hunters and Warriors could use a little helping hand.
Yeah.
Well,
I really
depending
tried
on
to
how
make-
depending on how they buff Warriors and Hunters, that could effectively help nerf mages. Like if they
Sure.
both get stuff that makes them mage killers, and you have 2 classes that are mage killers,
Yeah.
that could change the meta.
And then actually the Hunter was the mage killer when it was the one turn kill thing because they didn't care.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
a Hunter didn't care that you froze one minions because guess what? Turn 8 comes, I'm going to kill you anyway. And like a Warrior could definitely be the mage killer, but they run out of steam because they got all the charge and the weapons and stuff, but they run out of steam against them.
Yeah, they
so.
seem like they should be the natural enemy.
Yeah, they really should. Yeah, I'm going to axe you in the face.
Yeah.
While you try to freeze me, it's like, well, I don't care because I'm going to axe you some more. So
Garrosh plus Inner Rage equals a bunch of crazy stuff too.
yeah. But I tried to make the Warrior deck work in constructed play, and it's just not happening. It's just you can't get there.
And,
So
I don't want decks to be specifically the killers of one hero. I want all 9 decks to be somewhat consistent against all the heroes.
yeah.
I'd like to see
You don't have
more.
to
I
look
mean,
for matchups.
yeah.
You can just play.
like those you're talking about a trifecta of rock paper scissors up in the higher ranks, and I'd like to see more than just 3 heroes in rotation.
Yeah.
No, it's only a week. Things are. Gonna
It'll
change.
happen though. The meta will
Yeah.
shift again.
Well, it could be
know
that-
what meta means. We can. It will shift again, and then it'll change. So
And perhaps this new rank system is going to highlight some of those disparities. Like if the new rank system is encouraging everyone, just go mage because that's what's going to stop everyone. That's going to make it painfully obvious for Blizzard. Like, okay, we have a problem here.
yeah. And I'm sure they're seeing this information. They just we're not privy to it yet. So
Right. Oh man, I would kill to be able to see what Blizzard sees on a daily basis. But hey, there's that. Jelson, you want to take the next email?
Absolutely. This one comes to us from John Chan. He says, "Hey guys, and Canadian." I haven't seen this
I
around.
wonder
so
who that
wanted to-
is that he's talking about. Who's
I
the
don't
Canadian
know.
here?
No idea.
What are you
Show
talking about?
yourself, Canadian. Oh, it's
Never. I haven't seen this around, so I wanted to mention something I found out recently about daily quests. A friend of mine went on vacation for a week, so he wasn't able to log in. I had always assumed you had to log in to pick up your quests every day, but when he logged back in, he had 3 quests waiting. The surprising thing was that once you finished 2 of these quests, they were immediately replaced with 2 more. It seems that beyond the 3 you can actively hold, you can actually have a pile of daily quests behind the scenes. Not sure if there's a max for the extra quests. Just an FYI, it's something I didn't want to test because I don't want to lose out on gold, but now you know. So this does happen to me all the time because I don't play enough of the different heroes to actually complete my daily quests every day. So yeah, this happens to me all the time. I never run out of daily quests because there's always something when I finish one that's popping up in the background.
Yeah, this is something I've been wondering about.
Yeah. Does anybody know? Is there like is it like 7 or something?
I've looked to see if there's a max, and I cannot find a straight answer anywhere.
There must be some kind of max because, I mean, there are
there's no
times when
way
I
they're
just
gonna-
get totally swamped at work and I don't play for 3 or 4 days at a time. And I mean, there is no way that I have like 100 quests that have piled up. There's got to be something.
It's gotta be some kind of max. Yeah. Up until this past week, I've kept mine clear every day.
Yeah, me too.
But
Pretty much clear all the time.
the past few days,
Yeah,
I
I
took
try
a
to
break and just I noticed this today. I opened it up and boom, 3 quests. I finished one of them. Boom, a new quest.
Yeah.
So I have a little tip for people who really are trying to grind out gold. Is that you know how some quests will give you 60 and some quests will give you 40 gold? If you have the lower quest, you can go in there and there's a chance that you will get the higher quest when you replace it. You only do this once a day, but it won't always replace itself with another 40. Sometimes you it's like you mulligan your quests basically now with the little X in the corner, so you can click away the 40 gold one and you can end up with the 60 gold one. So if grinding up gold is something you're really concerned with, that's a way to give yourself a chance at more gold per day.
I didn't know
So
you
there's
could-
a little X now in the corner.
I
You can
didn't
get
know this either.
When you click the quest icon in the bottom left of the main screen.
Yeah, you got to go into the quest screen.
Quest log.
So not when your quests first pop up when you first log in.
No, you got to go in there and
only
then
on
there'll
the
be
quest
an
log.
X, and you can do it once per day, like on one quest. You can't do it
interesting.
like for every single one.
Because
But you
there's
can
been
basically
a
say
few
like, I don't
questions
want to
come in.
play Druid, so I'm not going to do the Druid one. I can click it and then it'll get replaced with something else.
Oh God, I did not
cool.
know
And
this.
it could
How did I
also
miss
be
this?
good if you're just really short on time and you're like, I can't grind out 5 wins with anyone. I'm just going to dump this for something else I have time for.
Yeah. I
Interesting.
mean, you could potentially end up with one of those ones that gives you like 100 gold too, right? I mean, there's the like 7 win one or whatever it is.
yeah, I have that one right now. I'm 1 win away.
Ooh. Nice. I mean, it's a lot of gold in one day. People always complain about how it's hard to get gold in this game, but if you think about it, like you do the quests every day, and then you play a little bit, and then you do your arena run, you get some gold back probably. So I feel like compared to other card games, it's actually fairly good in Hearthstone. I think the
Just stay
people
on
who are
top of your
complaining-
quests.
Yeah. I feel like the people who are complaining probably haven't played other card games where it's like even more of a grind than this is.
Yeah, man. I go to my local game store. I buy into a draft tournament, and then I never get money back.
Yeah, right?
I don't know
But
what's going on.
you keep the cards though, right? Did you get in those?
That is a good point. Yeah, but I'm paying full
Yeah.
price. I'm paying $4 a booster
Yeah.
as opposed
It's
to
still more expensive than you pay in Hearthstone, for
$2
sure.
a booster. Yeah,
Although you get a physical card you can hold in your hand. That's kind of good, I guess.
that is very true. I have
If
a
you think
stack
stuff in the
here
real
somewhere.
world is good,
I finally bought one of those.
We're all just like silent.
like, wait a minute,
Real
digital
what?
stuff. Digital stuff.
I finally gotten enough magic cards where I had to buy one of those big ass white boxes with the 4 rows. As my little like single magic card boxes are just not cutting it anymore.
Wow,
So,
pretty good.
Dilge, you want to take the final email today?
Sure, it's from David from Melbourne, Australia. He says, "Hey guys, still loving guys with a
Asterisk.
asterisk by it."
Okay, I made jokes last week about the penis. So you know what? Just
Yeah, she's one of the
include me
guys.
in with the
It's
guys.
all
I am
good.
I am okay with that.
So because you made a penis joke, it's okay.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
All right.
I think it's fine too. I'm on your side with this one, Jocelyn.
Thank you.
What's up, dude? Over there.
We've already-
Come on, buddy. You're my bro.
Not
Bro
saying
fist,
bro.
Jocelyn.
Not
Bro
saying
fist.
bro. No.
All right.
I'm
Still
not
loving
going-
the show. Just
definitely-
had a quick question. Have you heard any information regarding how the arena system offers you cards of different qualities? I've been assuming if I'm not offered a legendary, then I'll be offered more epics rares to compensate. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of info out there on this as far as I could tell. My pet theory, like items in WoW, maybe there is a deck budget of some kind. All the best, David from Melbourne, Australia. No, that is not true.
No, you are wrong.
It is completely random. You have no guarantees to be getting a certain number of rares, epics, or legendaries. And, yeah, it's just...
But it's a
just
balanced game, so you can build a perfectly good deck out of the basic cards.
You can, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, you can still... There's no guarantees in Arena, period. You can end up with terrible picks every single turn. You never know. And that's part of the fun of it. If you... I mean... It can be. If you hate that sucks. You might not like Arena very much. But that's just kind of how it works. It's totally random. I saw a guy play a deck. I didn't see him play it personally, but I saw a guy post a thing about a deck where he had 3 Tyrion Forge Rings in the same deck. That's ridiculous. But that's what happens sometimes. So, yeah. There's no deck budget or anything. There's no compensation for not having legendaries.
But one of the good things about that is that sometimes you can pick a bunch of cards and be like, oh, my deck just sucks. And then you start winning with it, and you're like,
yeah,
what happened here? Like, maybe I was wrong. There's something here.
Yeah.
And I know that happened with my roommate. He's like, oh, this is like my worst deck I've ever built. I'm going to go play it. And then he went, like, he got 6 wins for the first time. And he's like, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah. I've had plenty of those experiences. I've heard of people saying that they've retired decks after the draft because I think they're so terrible. I'm like, man, don't do that. Just play it. You never know. You don't know what's going to happen. There could be some weird synergy.
Be
you don't know
9
about.
other people with even worse decks. It could be actually way better than you're thinking. Don't ever not play.
Rage quitting before you even play the deck? That seems crazy to me. I mean, you can see on my Twitch stream, you can go back in my videos, and you could see the Warrior deck that had absolutely no card draw and nothing that seemed good in it. And I was like, well, I don't think I can win with this. And then I won 9. And I just decided, all right, I'll just go for the face with this deck. Why not? So if that kind of stuff happens, like, I recommend just play it weird. Just get weird with it, man. See what happens, you know?
Just get weird with it in Arena.
Weird with it. Yeah. Just start making really unconventional plays. At least have a good time. Don't just rage quit and
get weird and really uncomfortable with it.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm already out of my comfort zone.
Let's try all sorts of weird stuff. Play a 1 health minion and then a Mad Bomber afterwards, dude. Just do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Experiment with your roommate in college. Do it.
You know where I'm going with this, Garrett. Exactly.
Oh, wonderful.
Brofist, Jocelyn. Brofist.
Wonderful.
Brofist?
I'm definitely not naming.
I did it.
Definitely not naming today's show Brofist. That's for damn sure. So, anyways, thanks for your emails, guys. Again, that's tacpodcast@gmail.com. That'll do it for today's episode. Jarek, our guest, where can people find you?
I am on Twitter at twitter.com/JarekDane. Hearthhead is at twitter.com/Hearthhead. And then on Facebook also as facebook.com/Hearthhead. And that's with 2 H's in the middle, because it is not Hearthhead, it is Hearthhead.
That is tricky.
Yeah. Hearthhead.com, something completely different. Don't go there. Don't go there. No good. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man. And thank you for the keys you're giving out to the live crowd after we end here. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Not a
It's
problem.
been tons of fun. And thanks for Hearthhead.
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You're very welcome.
Since we're sure it is more than just you, but since you are the surrogate member here on the show, thank you.
I'll just thank you. But yeah.
And to anyone from Hearthhead listening, thank you for the by far my favorite database for Hearthstone on the internet. So go check it out. Thanks to those of you who left us reviews in the iTunes store. I figured I'd thank a different country this week because listener Ben sent in a screenshot from the Australian iTunes store. So thank you to Nick, who gave us 5 stars, but wrote 1-star review. Too much talk about Hearthstone, not enough talk about WoW. Really,
it's true, we talk way too much about Hearthstone.
That would be a joke based on the meta of our podcast.
Yeah, the podcast meta.
That's how we would explain that meta right there.
It's shifting week to week.
Yeah.
Now you can make Opinus jokes or Brofist jokes, or
you can make Dills is bad at math jokes, as well as Garrett Rage's
jokes. And
Jocelyn is a dude jokes. Jocelyn's Canadian jokes.
Jocelyn's a dude. All right. Also,
one of the dudes. Sorry, I said that wrong.
Also from Australia, thanks to Inflatable Ducky and Cheswire. Thank you for your 5-star reviews. Anyone from Canada, Jocelyn?
Oh, we have one from Canada. So this is, I can only give you 5 stars from Canada. says that the Angry Chicken is better than smoking crack in a drunken stupor.
Truly
Seriously,
Canadian.
though, the Angry
That's
Chicken.
so much fun too. Smoking crack in a drunken stupor. So if we're better than that, man,
that is Canadian meta.
What about
for
running?
those of you who are confused?
Is it better than running for mayor?
Tense.
I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
So he said, seriously though, the Angry Chicken is filled with valuable information for all levels of Hearthstone players. The hosts are a great combination of skill levels, which leads to a very educational podcast. And that is from Father Nate, so thank you very much.
Educational ones being the ones before we started talking about penises and brocas.
Yes.
So there is that. As always, the Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. You can see more about this show and all of the other amove shows on amove.tv. Also check out the instance and everything else that's totally epic over at frogpants.com. We record live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv. And that's also where the chat room is. So if we give away keys on the live show or whatever, that's where it's happening. Our stream went down tonight. Sorry, guys. But the chat room's still going live. And now you can also find us on the mobile live stream, which is provided by Alpha Geek Radio. So just go to mobile.alphageekradio.com and get it on your phone, or you can pull it up on the desktop if Twitch fails us, as it has this evening. And if it was Captain Nita and I was Darth Vader, I'd be choking it on the floor. So there is that. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. Follow me at Garrett Art. Dills can be found at Willie Dills, and Jocelyn can be found at GIS Gamer. Our guest today, Jarek Dane, can be found at Jarek Dane. D-A-I-N. Thanks to Brian Griffith, the musician responsible for our intro music. He can be found at briangriffithmusic.com, and you can find my graphic design portfolio at nomoonart.com. Check that out. Dills, where can people find you?
On my Twitch stream, Willie Dills SF, playing Hearthstone, and me and you played some BGs. What, yesterday?
Played some BGs, sir, or completely dominated some Alliance face?
Oh my god, we destroyed those Alliance noobs. It was amazing.
We had over 50
I'm
honorable
so sad
kills
I
in
missed
one
that.
game.
So
it was
sad.
ridiculous.
It was fun because I hadn't done PvP in a long time, and doing it with someone, over Skype and everything, and having like a plan. I mean, we won several of those battlegrounds on our own.
And I was drinking eggnog and rum. It was, I wasn't even operating at 100%. It was great.
It was a nice little Sunday for you then, huh?
Good time. Yeah, you should absolutely check out.
Can I play next time, guys?
Of course.
Hell yes.
Come on in. Let's do this.
You were too busy. You were too busy running incredibly current content of MC. Which, by the way, we're being sarcastic. People are like, "Oh, you make fun of Jocelyn too much." I'm like, "But she makes fun of it. It's in fun." I get this because it's in text. I get this image in my head of people thinking that I'm actually sitting here just going, "No, Jocelyn, you are terrible at this game. What are you doing?"
Oh, whatever. I can take it.
Yeah. Our latest review is pretty funny.
I am terrible at that game.
Our latest review is funny. I mean, I like how people think that that somehow I give a crap when they don't like a show. I'm like, well, you know what I do when I don't like a show? I just go listen to another show. That's what I do. It's working out pretty good for me, but
things that
whatever.
But you didn't do it the way that they wanted.
I know. And they paid that good money for our podcast.
It's a free show.
Oh, wait.
They expected exactly what they wanted.
All podcasts are generally free shows and a free medium. That if you don't like a show, make your own show. Do it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I just listen to another one. Sometimes I do make my own show, but most of the time I just listen to a different one. It's pretty good.
I gave us a one.
There's so many of them, you know?
Yeah.
You can also find me on the Instance, and TortureCast has been mostly on hiatus, which is the Giants podcast, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the world of baseball because we're getting closer to coming back, so we'll do that at some point again. And then the MJ Mediocast, Mediocre Golf Association podcast, and that's it.
Yeah. Jocelyn, where can people find you?
They can find me right here on AMove TV every Friday night for the Gamers In. We go live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, so we're doing that this week, and then I think we're probably going to do some kind of Game of the Year, New Year's Eve type special. So look for that. Cool. And just before we go, I wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to Undead Goat in the chat room who took over my minion duties tonight and put a ridiculous amount of links. You were amazing. Thank you so much. It made my job podcasting so much easier. So thank you for that.
Thank you. That's really cool of you. Oh, I have one more thing. I forgot. The Yogscast guys are doing this like big charity stream thing for like the next foreseeable future. And I'm going to do Thursday, the day after Christmas, with Terpster. We're going to do something. So I'll be
Nice.
on that stream as
wonderful.
well. So I'm sure it's pretty easy to find. I'm sure it's just Yogscast or whatever on Twitch. But
Yeah, search Yogscast Twitch and you'll find it.
yeah. There's going to be like tons and tons of people in there because they're all famous. But I'll be in there playing something with Terpster. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Good times. You guys should come out.
And next week will be our last episode before we take a break for Christmas. And if Twitch holds up, we're gonna try. We're gonna try and do a fun episode where we have some drinks and we take live calls from the crowd and just chat Hearthstone with the listeners. So
Should be good
I'm
times.
so excited.
yeah,
So excited.
Tune in and Twitch willing, that's what we're gonna do.
I'm going to start saying that instead of God willing from here on out. Twitch willing, we will find a way.
Oh, they are the gods of game streaming. So
True.
So
that.
they're as angry as I get at them. They're more
You know what?
reliable
They're
than-
growing so fast, and they need servers like faster than they can put them down. I don't know. It's crazy.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. My company has, I think I've mentioned this on the show, we have our servers like next to theirs in a big colo, and their servers are ridiculous. They're so professionally installed. Like ours is just a jumble of wires because we're a small company that, basically just built everything like one piece at a time. We're like, well, we need one more server, so let's go down there and put it in. But theirs is just, stacks and stacks and stacks, all clearly put in at the exact same time. And, it's insane. And yet they still can't stream me properly. Damn it.
Yeah, what's going on? Damn it.
Get on it.
That's like the first time. Well, that's like when I bought my first like pre-built PC gaming rig. I remember opening it up and like, oh my god, look at this wire management. It doesn't look like someone threw up spaghetti inside my tower.
Right? Yeah.
It's not a real computer.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count. It has to look like someone just jammed stuff in there. It's important.
Yeah, exactly. Which actually is a brilliant segue into my final bit, which is don't forget to check out our sponsors, DogcastSystems.com, because that's actually the rig I'm talking about. I'm looking at it right now on my TL desktop. I don't understand what Time Lord Doctor Who technology they're using to hide the wires in this thing, but it's beautiful. It runs great. This thing's going on 2.5 years old now and still devours any game I throw at it. So check out DogcastSystems.com. Our code is TAC, and it gets you double memory on your next Dogcast Systems gaming rig. We thank them for their support. I can't talk anymore because I'm laughing about penis bro fisting. And that's about
Bro
it.
fisting is OP in here, by the way. It's the best bro fisting you will ever find. Nerf bro fisting.
And mages while you're at it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you next week. And, until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.